All right, we are live from the Quarterback Sports Bar and Grill. The Quarterback Sports Bar and Grill, Warden Avenue in Scarborough, just north of Eglinton. 14,000 square feet of fun, pro standard playing equipment, great food. Book your party today, 416-757-2265, or go to thecornerbank.ca. Yes, it's the Tilley and Billy Show. I'm Joe the Swiss Tilley.
Hi, friends. Billy the Greek here.
All right, we got a great show for you today, and we have some big news today. Billy, guess what?
Oh.
We are now on nextsportstar.com. Interviews, insights, and all your favorite sports coverage. Go to nextsportstar.com on Twitter, Facebook, and get the NSS app today. There you go, NSS.
Tell the fans a little more about what does NSS represent? What is it about?
It's a sports network with lots of stuff on there. They're expanding all the time.
Yeah.
There's going to be movies on there, sports-related movies and other movies. And it's a place to be, Billy.
Yeah, how long do you figure till we get to the upper echelon of that list? Do you think we're already there, or you think we need to spend a little? What do you think?
I think really, if you think about it, shouldn't we be at the top of the list right now? Don't you?
I'd imagine it to be. Yeah. Well,
I would imagine that we're right there at the top of the list. Okay, so anyway, this week we're going to talk about some, the local teams that we've been talking about quite a bit. You know, like the Leafs, for example.
Really, you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about.
You want to talk about the Leafs?
I know. Today, this week's show, we're going to talk about the Leafs. Strange as that may seem. But we like to talk about the Leafs. It seems to be a pretty popular subject here in Southern Ontario. So let's go that route. And they got a big game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the best team in the NHL, the team that's going to win the President's Trophy. But did you know that only 8 of 32 teams that have won the President's Trophy have won the Stanley Cup? So
it's not surprising.
So it's not. It's certainly not a lock just because you win the President's Trophy that you're going to be a Stanley Cup, even a contender. Quite often, the President's Trophy teams get knocked out in the second round. So what happens? So anyway, the least biggest problem is going to be the Boston Bruins. The team they're going to face first in the team they're going to face first up out of the gate, and the team that they've struggled with in the playoffs before, I guess you could say. But even though you might say it's a struggle, if you look at it objectively, the first time they lost to the Bruins in the playoffs, they had no business beating the Bruins anyway. That was a team that went on to win the Stanley Cup. Last year, they lost to the Bruins in the first round of the playoffs, but that series went 7 games. The Bruins had home ice advantage, and the Leafs actually had the lead heading into the third period of that game. So it's not like the Bruins have dominated the Leafs like some people seem to say.
First of all, you throw 2013 and the third period collapse out the board. Different team, not really any holdovers from that club. So that doesn't factor in. And any club that is building towards a I don't want to throw the term dynasty out there too easily, right? But any team that's building towards a run, be it a year, 2 or 5, has a nemesis at some point in time that they must overcome. Not only in hockey, but in any sport you look at it. And for us, for all intents and purposes, the nemesis is the Boston Bruins. So I'd suggest that I
think the nemesis part is overrated, and that was my point. The nemesis part is overrated. They've lost the Bruins twice. Okay, twice in 5-6 years. All right. Yeah. And nemesis only because this is the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year.
Fair enough. We say nemesis, but we are also not in the heads of the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
I don't think the Bruins are either.
So, if the Leafs believe, if any of the Leafs believe that Boston might be their nemesis, is a different story. We don't know, but Leafs match up well on paper, and they bring in a year's more pain, a year's more experience into a 2-3 matchup with the Bruins, and again. Going into the season or halfway through or at the end, I'd consider the Leafs the favorites, especially if they manage to get home ice for the potential playoff preview, right? And
well, and the thing is too, I agree with you 100%. I believe the Leafs are the favorites only because of all the lines here. I mean, you look at the Bruins; they had the 19-game unbeaten streak. But the thing is the first thing I think of is have they peaked too early?
Yeah. So we talk a little premature.
Maybe a little premature, actually, by the Bruins. Yeah. But 19. Of course, they lost last night to Pittsburgh, so things.
Getting back to your earlier point,
that streak is over anyway.
Getting back to your earlier point that you made about President's Trophy winners and the connection in terms of winning cups, why it's 25%, 8 out of 32. 25%, right?
25%.
Thereabouts.
That's very good.
Yeah, actually, it is 25%.
Exactly.
I'll be darned, man. How you like that, anyways? Not only a pretty face, got a brain too, right? So the point of the matter being that if you win a President's Trophy, that signifies you're playing on a high level throughout the year. As we both know, and all of you watching might know, that you have to raise your level of play come playoff time a notch higher. There's got to be another gear. No matter how good you are during the regular season, you got to be a little bit better in the playoffs, right? Now let me ask you something. How can Tampa Bay be any better?
Right.
Can they? Does Tampa Bay have another gear?
I mean, if you want to be devil's advocate, you can look at it this way. A lot of President's Trophy winners, they go hard those last few games to try to secure that President's Trophy and home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, which is pretty important. But and a lot of teams burn themselves out. That is not going to be the case for Tampa. They are home and cooled out with a month to go.
But again, you know what's the interesting piece when it comes to that? And anybody that sneaks into the wild card spot is coming in hungry, is coming in hot. The only way you get that second wild card spot is if you're coming in hot. So you're looking for a potential Carolina Tampa Bay first round preview. And let me tell you something. It's not going to be easy for Tampa Bay to dominate Carolina, even if Columbus, Pittsburgh, there's not an easy road for any of the 8 teams that are coming out of the East. Everybody complains about the Leafs draw having to face Boston, but it's no walk in the park to face Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay in the first round.
Can you imagine if the Bolts faced the Pittsburgh Penguins is a number 8 seed. Sid Crosby, Evgeny Malkin,
and championship pedigree.
2 years ago, they were champions.
So
it's not an easy task, that's for sure. No, and another thing, I do like the way the Leafs match up against Tampa Bay or Boston.
Hold on. Boston's a little different, but they match up Tampa Bay and Toronto in essence for the better part. Although if you look at the stats, Tampa Bay has one thing that we don't, and that's a bona fide penalty kill. They're first in the league in killing penalties, first in the league in power play.
That's pretty significant.
But thanks a lot. Like, how does that play in the playoffs? You could be first all year, but how does that play moving forward, right? But that's very impressive. You hardly see a club to be ranked first in both categories, right? And I guess that's why they got 190 points or whatever they got, right? It's not by accident.
I just like the fact they at least have 4 lines that can skate and move.
They play the same game.
I think it's Tampa Bay, I think they match up quite well. Boston, a different type of matchup, but I'd still like the matchup. Again, you got four top lines that can fly, and the Bruins, I don't think will be able to handle it.
No, but you know what anybody will tell you, myself included, and they've said it in not only in response to this show, but just in the media in general, is the grit factor, right? We've been talking about that for months rather. Can a Leaf team with a questionable back end and limited grit up front be a successful recipe to make a Stanley Cup run? I guess we'll find out. I say can't. I say the Leafs have the makings of a championship club, but I don't think they're there yet. Not only do I not think they're there from a back end talent perspective, but I don't think they're there in terms of the pain threshold. Any team that you've noticed over the years, like for example, take you back a different time. Back when you had more, when your hair was a little darker, because I've seen you talk about the Oilers a little bit, right?
My hair's exactly the same color as when I was 20.
Anyways, you're talking about the Oilers. The Oilers had to struggle a lot to get to the point where we remembered them. They lost to the Islanders year after year, right?
Well, no, they lost to the Islanders once.
They lost to the Islanders.
The first year in the NHL, they knocked off the Habs, who were the 5-time defending champions.
But they struggled a little bit. They had to overcome a little adversity. All right, let me give you a better example then. Stevie Yzerman was going to get shipped out of Detroit. They said he couldn't win. He couldn't win. Game 7 against...
Same thing against Mario Lemieux.
Same thing against Mario. Same thing against Ovechkin, right? Yeah. So what has to happen, and I don't want to go into other sports, but if you took a look at basketball, Michael Jordan had to struggle to be a champion. He had to beat the Pistons. He had to struggle. Yeah. Larry Bird had to... Everybody's got to struggle. So the question you ask yourself... So
they struggled last year, okay, and then...
Is that enough?
Sure.
For young guys? You think young guys are ready to win right now?
Why not?
You think these kids are ready to win?
They struggled a bit last year, so they changed the look of the club. They brought in a guy like John Tavares. Yeah. Do you think John Tavares hasn't struggled before? He knows what it takes to get over that hump. Yeah. Jake Muzzin has a Stanley Cup under his belt. They brought him in. He knows what it takes to get over the hump. Yeah. These are the types of players who are going to get those young kids together. Like James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Bozak, I love those guys, but they were not the type of guys who were going to lead this team to the Stanley Cup. You replace bodies like that, bring in guys like Muzzin, Tavares, you got a completely different team. And I don't think this team needs grit. I think this team has got all the speed. And like you draw the Edmonton Oilers as a comparison. Look at the speed. They were impossible to handle that team.
Don't go there, because if you want to draw the Oilers, you also have to factor in for a guy like Messier that was talented and mean as can be. You have to factor in for Kevin McClellan. You have to factor in for Lowe. You have to factor in for Smith. You have to factor in for a lot of guys.
Right.
It was a different time.
It was a different time, and like rather than the enforcers, the enforcers which you had in the old day.
Did Messier ever drop the gloves?
You now have enforcers who are stripes. And the red band around their eyes. Those are the enforcers in today's game. These are the guys that are keeping the game from getting out of hand. And you know what? Speed is going to kill. The game has been moving more and more and more into that direction. And I think this season with the Maple Leafs, you're going to see that project come to fruition, where the NHL has always wanted to be. Well, not always wanted. The last few years, the NHL has wanted to be a league that promotes skill, and that skill is finally being promoted in such a way that the Zebras are taking care of things.
Again, Joe, I don't necessarily disagree with you. That element exists, and maybe...
Did you hear that?
No, I don't necessarily... And nobody can disagree. Nobody can come on here and say that the Leafs don't have the makings and the nucleus of potentially not only a Stanley Cup champion, but a dynasty, a championship. Nobody can say that. And if anybody did say that, they're obviously Leaf haters or ignorant. You cannot come on here and say they don't have the elements.
Right.
But the painter to plumber ratio is not accurate. They have the elements. But until they get better on the back end, number one, and number two, until they get a little grittier in the corners, and I'll tell you how. And let me finish. I'll tell you only how the vision that you carry and the vision you're projecting comes to life. You want to know how that is?
Yeah.
If they get some unexpected contributions come playoff time from a guy like Borgman, comes out of nowhere, or a guy like Rosen, or a guy like Moore, much like Kapanen did a couple years ago, steps up and plays a different role. But the nucleus is there. In any championship club, you got to have talent. You can't win without talent.
Right.
You can't win with.
Let's talk about the talent. Okay, up front. No question, nobody matches up with the Leafs in those four lines.
You can make an argument, Tampa Bay. But you can make an argument.
Okay, you maybe make the argument, but nobody matches up.
Fair.
I don't think any matches up with them. You got a goaltender, Freddie Anderson, top 5 in the NHL, no question.
No, right? They're hold on. Let's stop one at a time.
Okay.
Top 5, no question. I challenge you there. I wouldn't say top 5, no question, because to be top 5, no question, you have to do it come playoff time. You have to do it in the third period against Boston.
Would you have said before last year that Braden Holtby was a top 5 tenor?
No, but I say it now. I say it now, right? I say it now. So
there's no reason to think, even after his lack of success in the playoffs,
let's
he
say
was
top
a Vezina
10.
Trophy winner.
Let's say upper third.
Okay, for sure he's top echelon.
All right.
Okay, we agree that he's upper echelon goalie. I'm saying he's top 5. You say you haven't seen that proven yet. Okay, defensively, all right? Morgan Riley, my pick, and I'm not trying to be objective here.
Yeah.
My pick as a Norris Trophy winner today.
Guess what?
What?
Me too.
Okay, so there you go. You got maybe the best defenseman in the league. You've got Jake Muzzin, who can bang bodies and make things happen. You got Dermott, who's coming back. Who's coming back shortly.
There's question marks there.
He's coming back shortly. Jake Gardner, who has that offensive, abilities. Okay.
Hold on.
People want to dump on Zaitsev. Yeah. Zaitsev leads the team in hits. Good. He's got 105 hits. Zaitsev is a better player than most people think, and he's been improving over the last little while. Okay. So Zaitsev's playing better. Ron Hainsey. See people say, no, Hainsey, they can't win it with Hainsey. Listen, the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup with Hainsey as a number 1 defenseman.
When was that?
And then won it 2 years ago.
2 or 3?
2 years ago.
So coming up on 3 now, right?
Right.
So 3 years in a hockey life is like what? It's not 5 minutes, right? Okay. So
yeah, but he was a number 1 defensive player. He was a number 1. But you can't just people just continuously dump on this defense like they have no ability and no hope.
No, that's not what they. You know what? You're pushing it. Okay? You're going a little bit too. When you're saying no ability and no hope, you're not being accurate.
Okay.
With the
look at I'm just looking at here. Let's just look at these guys here. Okay. Riley, Muzzin, Zaitsev, Dermott, Hainsey, and Ozaganov, and again another guy who's been playing better lately is Ozaganov. Okay, so you know what I'm saying is unlike a lot of people who say this frickin' defense is terrible, which is stupid. It's stupid. This is a solid defense, and I would take this defense. Over Boston's defense and Tampa's defense.
Making the comparison to Tampa would be difficult.
Well,
I'll tell you what you're missing here. You've taken some individual talent. You've viewed them at their best, and you've seen them at their best, and you imagine a collection of these guys when we're talking about Gardner, Dermott, and what have you. If all these guys played at their best come playoff time, I give you that. But what you don't have in the collection of these guys, you don't have and I believe it to be necessary. You might disagree with me, but I believe it to be necessary where all these defensemen need to be slotted down to be slotted down one run. And for me, the missing element of the Toronto Maple Leafs is a guy like. Again, I don't want to throw a Burns or a PK Subban. Obviously, every team in the NHL could use them, but a physical presence in the back end that can bring a different.
Hello, Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, but one more. Muzzin is nice, but I need one more, preferably right-handed shooting defenseman that brings a nasty and a physical element to the game that instills. Hold on. That instills a little bit of fear in the competition. The Leafs do not scare anybody, Joe. They scare them, you know how? They scare them with talent and abundance of talent. Yeah. But you need to scare.
But they also, listen, I don't agree with the scare anymore because they've got guys who can get under your skin and drive you crazy too, okay? They've got Kadri, they've got Hyman, they got guys who can get under your skin. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. So anyway, I think we pretty much covered that off. Anything you want to add before we move on?
I don't know. Again, we've had this running conversation for the better part of 2 months. It feels like 2 years. I mean, it feels like I'm arguing with my ex. I'm telling her left, she's telling me right. She's sure she knows what she's talking about. The Greeks spent 30 years on his mom's couch studying his craft. I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Time will tell. We can't really take it any further, right?
Time will tell. This segment, by the way, is brought to you by Aldo at Remax Crossroads. Call 416-GET-ALDO for all your real estate needs. Aldo and his team will take good care of you, I'm telling you. Okay. Well, let's shift gears now to some hardwood, shall we?
Yeah, let's get there. Sorry.
Okay, so the Raptors. So I like what I'm seeing from the Raptors. Mm-hmm. I know that this sounds, like I'm on the cheerleader.
What are you like, the Homer Fest?
But the Homer Fest here, but I just happen to like what I see from both of the local teams this year. I really do, and you know what the Raptors are doing right now, that monstrous win over the Heat. 18-point win over the Heat, not a great team, but 18-point win over the Heat without Kawhi Leonard. Kyle Lowry. I mean, here we are with a couple weeks to go, 3 weeks to go in the season, whatever it is, 3-4 weeks, and Kyle Lowry is he's getting it together. He's 24 points last night. He had a triple-double against the Pelicans. Pelicans, again, not necessarily a strong team, but when you can sit Kawhi Leonard and still win by 18 and have your main guy Lowry, chalk up 18 points. I think I like what I'm seeing from this team. I love what I'm seeing from Pascal Siakam. He just seems to get better and better and better. Marc Gasol. I'm always thinking I hope to see him step it up a little bit come playoff time.
Yeah? What are you saying? What are you saying? Maybe the Greek was onto someone. He called him a 2009 cat. He looks slower than that. His game has been looking a little suspect. Has it not in your eyes?
It has, but you know what? Maybe he's going to provide a piece come playoff time.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be a serviceable piece.
Sir, hold on there. Let's touch on that a little more. The serviceable piece means because frankly, if you watch a Raptor games, the club plays better with Ibaka than they do with Gasol, right? Let's be fair to Gasol too. It's a big transition. He's played his whole career out west. He's learning Nurse's system. He's coming in, and let's face it, he doesn't have the skill set that can inspire and dominate an NBA game athletically. He's not that player.
Well, when I'm talking about a piece, what I'm saying is playoff time.
I agree.
Second unit. Bring in Gasol in. A playoff savvy veteran settling the young guys down, making clutch shots, making great passes for a big man. That's the type of thing I'm talking about.
No, I don't disagree with you, but that's not the bill of goods we were sold when we got him. We were talking about, and I remember somebody on this table was talking about a former NBA All-Star, a this, a that, an elite player. And Gasol, my friends, if you watch the game, is no longer an elite player. He's a bit player to a championship club that can offer intangibles.
All right, but let's see. Let's see.
Well, let's see. There's nothing to look at, man. All you got to do, hold on. All you got to do is watch a game. The guy's athletically challenged, can't play one-on-one, has a difficult time with his lateral quicks. He's not the prototypical
he's learning the system. He's still learning the system.
You can learn any system you want, Joe, but if your vertical is this tall, man, in an NBA,
but when you're 7'1", you don't need. You can
fair, but you do a little. When your vertical is this tall and you have no athletic ability, you better be heads. You better provide something else. And I believe.
And let's see what happens. I think it's going to be that veteran savvy that's going to be the difference come playoff time.
Yeah, and also.
Sorry, what else?
Talk about also. I think we need to give a little bit of credit. You touched on it earlier to the level of play by one Kyle Lowry. The Kyle Lowry that you've seen over the course of the last 2 weeks is going to be vital and necessary for them to make a run to the finals. And the second piece that I wanted to touch on is the importance of getting Freddie Van Fleet back and into the lineup as soon as possible.
Right.
Because if you watch the second half of the Rocket game, the
second unit was bad.
The strength of last year's team was in fact the second unit,
bench,
right? So if you watch our second unit against an upper level club like the Rockets, in essence they lost.
Really miss Freddie Van Fleet.
And you know what else? You know why else they miss him? In NBA basketball, if you watch every offensive rebound, the shot clock goes to 14 instead of 24. So what that does is you need guys to create plays against the shot clock. You need guys to create their own shots up against the clock or to facilitate for others, right?
Yep.
And the only guys on the Leonard can get a shot off. Lowry can get a shot off, right? And Van Fleet in that specific role can drive, can get a shot off against the shot clock. Make shots, and that's as vital as it comes, right? He's the missing ingredient, and when he comes back, and we're at when the Raptors are at full strength, I look for them to be playing Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City or the Rockets come playoff time. I'm not buying the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors don't look good.
I'm not buying them. I'm not.
No.
You know
what's happening there?
I'm not buying them. Something's going on, and I think their run comes to an end too.
I can't disagree with you. Another thing, speaking of Fred Van Vliet, okay, this guy, I think he was undrafted. I think he was a walk-on Raptors 905. I think
really might have been.
I think it was a 905. I think the 905 scooped this guy out. Look at this guy today, unbelievable. The kid, and then the kid Boucher, the Canadian. You know,
I like him, man. He comes shooting from the. You know what? I love that guy. He's got this look about him. He's quiet. And the minute he comes in, man, and he's got an iota of an opening. He shoots from 35 feet, man. I love that guy. Anyways, good Canadian kid too. So you know what? The Raptors have shown not only do they have upper echelon players, but they can also through the 905 club, as indicated by Siakam, right? They can develop players too, and maybe Boucher one day gets a bigger piece of the pie, right? On court and off court.
Right, so 49-19. Looks like they're going to have like a really easy schedule. 11 of their remaining 13 games, or whatever it is, they're against teams under 500. And they got Brooklyn. That's one of the challenges is Brooklyn, because Brooklyn's been playing better. They get KC and the Pistons one more time.
Yeah, it should be
fun. And they get LKC back to back. So that's going to be
it'd be interesting to see. It'd be good theater to see KC and the Pistons come a first round of playoffs.
Yeah,
that'd be quite fun and quite.
That'd be a challenge.
Would it not?
It'd be good.
Would it not good theater, anyways.
Okay, now we're going to switch gears again. This segment, by the way, is brought to you by Carriage Trade Cleaners. Like a spa for your clothes, eco-friendly, biodegradable cleaning products and packaging, gourmet coffee, including lattes and cappuccinos, same-day service, available Monday to Friday. That's very important. 932 Simcoe Street North in Oshawa. And go to carriagetrade.ca. Store your winter wear today. Carriage Trade Cleaners. Got it? Okay, okay, all right.
Hey, just a word to anybody out there watching this: smarten up a little bit, man. Or we're gonna post nothing you say on the air until you have one iota of intelligence.
By the way, that's our producer Brian Glasgow over there. Yeah, getting his 2 cents worth in. Yeah. He's a wonderful man. Despite all you hear from him right now. Okay, Blue Jays. Hey, season's just a couple of weeks away.
You know who's the happiest guy in Blue Jay land?
Yeah.
You know what it is? Mr. Well, there's two of them. Yeah. Shapiro and Atkins.
Yeah.
Nothing could have made them. Excuse me. Nothing could have made him happier than to have Vladio for 3 weeks.
No kidding,
right?
Eh?
Wow, man, what a heaven sent.
So Vladio comes up with an injury.
Yeah, it's magical. The 3 week, and they say, you know, why didn't I listen to this guy again? I want to wring his neck. He goes, you know, we got to take it easy. We got to. Thanks a lot, man. He's got to put him on a program, and somehow he's going to be healthy by the 25th of April when the business dealings make sense.
Right.
Good job, Atkins. Now the only thing left to decipher is if this was like. If they created this.
It was ordained by God or by Atkins and
Holy
Shapiro?
jeez, man. Luckiest guys.
Yeah.
So takes the heat off him a little, would you say?
It worked out perfect.
Yeah. You can't ask for anything better other than maybe 3-4 pitchers and a couple bats. Right? And some depth in your organization from the mound, you'd be set, right? So again, Blue Jay baseball coming up this year.
But some of the kids that look pretty good.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Bo Bichette has been turning some heads down there, and you know they do have a good-looking young
Bo
group
Bichette,
of kids there.
His old man was a hell of a hitter, both in Colorado and in Anaheim. A gun from the outfield, so you know the lineage for him is good. He's grown up around the game. He's headsy, and he can swing the bat. Now the question with Bichette is he led the whole minor leagues last year in errors committed, right? So the question is he a second baseman moving forward? Is he a shortstop? But you can't argue with his stick, right?
But you know what? When I see that stat about errors committed, there's one thing that comes to mind is like he gets to a lot of balls, right? He's getting to a lot of balls because if you don't get to a lot of balls, balls are going to be bouncing off your glove. The throws aren't going to be off balance. But he's getting to a lot of balls.
Yeah, and it also could indicate like. Minor league baseball and some of the infields in terms of minor league baseball are not groomed to the point
Bad
of time.
hops.
So you don't know where he plays if 37 equals 16 or if 37 is really 37 unless you watch him. And I can't say that I've watched him day in day out to see the nature of those errors and whether the number's legitimate, right? But I know the bat's legitimate without a doubt, right?
But when it comes to a 19-year-old kid, you got to cut him some slack too, right? 19, 20-year-old kid, you got to cut him some slack. But by the way, it's Vlad's 20th birthday on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
When we're going to have our live show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Live Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, look forward to
Saturday
that.
Night Live here from the Cornerback Sports Bar.
Look forward to that. Absolutely. Yeah. It should be a good show.
So just to let you know, the next week's show is going to be live on Saturday night. The outfield, a little bit sketchy still too, eh?
Again, we've been Blue Jay fans have been waiting for Double-A and not the other one that's out in Anthony Alford to step up. Anthony Alford was touted as one of the best prospects in baseball a few years back. Hit a couple home runs yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. So I don't know. Is it his time? Right? Somebody's got to come out of the woodwork in terms of that Blue Jay outfield because that's currently constructed. It could be I haven't really, to be honest with you, looked at all rosters, but it could be maybe one of the worst outfields in baseball today, right?
Well, Hernandez right now it's Hernandez, Grichuk, Pilar, right?
Yeah.
So
and I don't
maybe Alford.
Yeah, you see any Hall of Fame or All Stars or Gold Gloves out there, or I don't see. I don't see much.
It's not much. No, right? That's an area where they could improve on.
Yeah, without a doubt, right? So again,
so now it's shout out time, Billy. I know we have some shout outs today. First of all, I want to talk about the Canadian tennis players. I know I've talked about this a few times, but we've got 4 Canadians advancing at the at Indian Wells, the Parabob tournament.
I can't wait until you say one of the names.
Bianca Andreescu has made it to the round of 16 again.
She's all over the place.
This kid is
on
this
fire.
is not
eh?
a this is not,
Not a
like,
joke.
This is not a joke tournament. I mean, she won the WTA 125 event and all that stuff.
You know,
Now
when
she's
they'll
playing
take, you
against
know when they'll
the best
take
on the
notice,
planet
eh?
right
When
now.
you see her in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open, maybe some casual tennis fans will open up their eyes, right? When you see her on that level,
and they won't know who she is.
No, but
she's
then
ranked 60th in the world, right?
Without
So
a doubt, yeah.
We know who she is. She's Canadian, so we've been following her. But she's this kid. Oh, she's something else. And then on the men's side, 3 Canadians make it for the round.
Say the names.
To the third round. Felix Auger-Aliassime.
One more time.
All right, Felix Auger-Aliassime.
Attaboy.
Dennis Shapovalov and Milos Raonic have all made it to the third round.
Yeah.
Milos, you know, he's got those injury issues up and down. But another shout out, by the way. But great job of the Canadians. 4 of them advancing at Indian Wells. Nobody being knocked out so far. The McMaster Marauders, first ever U Sports women's hoops title, 70-58 over Laval.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Gates from Newmarket, Linnea Harper from Newmarket. Both of them had 18 points for the Marauders as they win the women's title for the very first time in school history.
So what are you saying? A little championship out for the city of Hamilton, eh? It's been a long time since they had it.
For Brian's hometown.
Eh?
And our friend Tommy Gunn. We use his.
He's from out there too, eh?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since they had a.
We love you.
When's the last time they had a Tiger Cat parade out there, man? It's been a while, eh?
When
Harold was carrying around?
Oski Wee Wee and, you know.
Oh, geez. Poor bastards,
He's feeling the pain right now. By the way, Carleton won the men's title for the 14th time in 16 years. They're just talk about a dynasty. Yeah. And they beat Calgary 83-49.
83-49. What was the spread in that game, you know? Might have been minus what, man?
I would have said that probably, I would think they'd probably be, Calgary was the defending champs.
Yeah, really,
So I'd say probably, Ottawa's probably favored by like 7.
So they barely covered, you're saying. They won by 50.
34.
No kidding, eh?
Okay, I think they covered.
Kidding, nothing like a championship game.
Another thing, speaking of, no, it's not Hamilton. Woodstock, okay, the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame banquet is coming up Saturday, May 11th in Woodstock. I want to give a shout out to some of my guys. Mark Simmons, a former Commonwealth amateur champ, who's now a top referee, one of the best referees in the world. Remo DiCarlo, and a guy I used to spar with back in the day. Barrington Francis, Irv Ungerman, Sid Vanderpool, Harry Davis, Steve Buffery, our journalist friend from the Toronto Star, or Sun, I should say, Arnie Beam, Tony Ananis, Mike Strange, Asif Dar, among those inducted into the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame. Woodstock on May 11th. Be there or be square.
That's a lot of right hooks and left jabs over there,
There is. And you got a shout out too tonight, Billy.
Yeah, I'd like to, a couple of shout outs actually. First, like to send our best to a good buddy of not only the show but of Toronto baseball, and that's Mr. Howie Burney. Howie's been a little under the weather for the last little while. He's a fighter, and we miss him, we love him, and we want to see him soon. Want to see him back and at him this summer, because you walk into Talbot Park on any weekday, and what do you see there? You see Howie, and you've seen him for the last 50 years, given his time and days to Toronto baseball. He's an invaluable member of the community. He's a good man, and we just need him at full health for this coming summer. So Howie, shout out your way, and also today marks the 1 year anniversary of the tragic passing and incident out in Pickering in regards to the Pijanovsky family. 3 of the members were lost last year, so our hearts go out to the remaining family and to our buddy Voss. Also had an opportunity. Excuse my ignorance, and I'm going to take a look here on my phone for a special shout out to the Don Mills Flyers. Getting to the point in time playoff season, boys. Hold on, let me get this here. So in any event, I can't look it up. I should have been more prepared, so I apologize for that. Don Mills Flyers coming up to playoff time, and all I got to say is, boys, I met a couple of you over the weekend in terms of the tributes for the Pijanovsky family, and so go get one for Royzy, boys, okay? And all the best to you and the entirety of the Pijanovsky family. You guys show great class, great heart, and you inspire. When we hear about what you're doing, you inspire guys like me to not only become better human beings, but to find the strength that you have, when I'd imagine that the entirety of us in this room have experienced problems way lower than yours, man. And keep your heads up, and thank you kindly, man. Thank you so much.
All right, keep punching, guys. All right, that's wraps it up for this week's show. I'm Joe the Swiss Tilley.
Billy the Greek.
All right, we'll see you Saturday night, live right here from the Quarterbank Sports Bar and Grill.
I should have been more prepared.
Oh, sorry. I think you got the gist of it.
Yeah. I should have been more prepared.
Did you see anything pop up in there?
No, it was Brian told me